Welcome to Connect to Joy. Your host, Carol DeChaine, is an intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and Marconic multidimensional energy practitioner. Her quest is to help you realize new possibilities, discover and release what holds you back, and enable you to manifest an inspired life filled with joy. Join us on this journey of transformation. Now, here's your host, Carol DeChaine.
Welcome, beautiful spirits. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm Carol DeChaine, and my passion in life is to help you find your joy, to release what holds you back, and assist you to quantum leap your journey of self-discovery. I'm an intuitive, certified in life and business coaching, and a Marconic multidimensional energy practitioner and teacher. So if you're ready to start creating that life you've only dreamed of, that you deserve, let's have some fun. And let's get started right now. Welcome. Today, we're asking the question, where's my fairy godmother? Because sometimes life is difficult. Things don't go the way we want to, and we might think, geez, if I only had someone to fix this. If I was Cinderella, I'd want that fairy godmother. Things were horrible and I was having abuse. This poor girl even started talking to mice. She was so out of it. And then she had this fairy godmother show up. And what did she do? Well, she gave her a new dress, new shoes. She got a new hairstyle, and she also got a pumpkin that ended up being a coach. And she got to hang out with the Prince Charming for like half a night, not even a full night. So I'm not sure the fairy godmother did that well by her. And then, of course, there's Sleeping Beauty's fairy godmother. She had 3. They gave her beauty and they gave her singing ability. And then instead of helping her not have to prick her finger on the spindle and die, she got to take a really long nap for like 100 years. That's like not the best fairy godmothers either. But, actually, I think I prefer a genie. Either I Dream of Genie, if you're old enough to remember that with Barbara Eden, or Aladdin, if they don't mess things up, because you get those 3 wishes. But wouldn't it be nice to have someone fix our problems? Sometimes people think it's God. God will fix my problems. I'll pray and they will be fixed. Great. But sometimes we don't have that person or that being show up out of the blue and snap their fingers and everything's all better. But we can dream about it. We can wish for it. Well, I'm talking about having someone help change our problems and help our lives. Let me toss in here that sometimes being a little envious of other people's success in either love or career, maybe their finances. Sometimes we want a little bit of that for ourselves, don't we? It may not be that you don't want the other person to have their success. You just want a little of that too. So another really good fairy godmother time, right? Or if you prefer genie. Well, let's talk about those things. We consider those things as going wrong first. So let me ask you, when you want that fairy godmother because things aren't going well, how's your attitude? How's your life going? If it's not going well, are you having a good attitude? I've known people with what seems like a horrible life, and they have lots of challenges, but they were so cheerful. And I'm wondering, wait, can you see what your life is like? And yet there are such in good places. They kind of have this feeling that, hey, don't wait for life to be great to be happy. Just find a reason to be happy anyway. It's like, wow, who are these people? And then I've known other people that they wallow in their unhappiness and they criticize everything. They complain all the time. And yet they do nothing about their reality. And they seem to actually enjoy that. So maybe that is their way of enjoying it. But they still probably, maybe they don't want a fairy godmother to pull them out of their issues. Maybe they don't mind it. First, I want to ask you, so when that happens, what's your attitude? Are you that happy, cheerful person no matter what? Are you hiding it and actually having underneath maybe an ulcer because things aren't going so well? Or do you have that attitude of, hey, it's just something I'm going through. It's going to go out the other side and I'll be just great. Are you morose or sad, or afraid when things don't go your way? Maybe you are like that person that I knew that whined all the time or complained and didn't take action. Or do you take action? What is that attitude? And what do you do? Let me ask you this too. Have you asked the universe for help when you need it? Ask out there for that fairy godmother to show up. Ask something. So, do you take the time and maybe meditate or pray? Do you talk to your higher self? And then, did you get an answer? And if you don't think you did you actually listen? Because sometimes we don't listen. We ask and ask and ask. We cry, we whine, we reach up to the heavens and say, please, God, help me. And we don't seem to get an answer. But if you aren't listening, you are not going to get an answer. I know when we do Toastmasters, half of the job is speaking, but the other half is listening and evaluating your life and evaluating the speech in that case. But you're evaluating how things are going. And sometimes you need to take that step back and not just do all the speaking, but take that step back and evaluate how things are going and listen. Listen, and maybe that answer you didn't get when you were praying or meditating is going to show up in a different way. So don't blame God that he or she is not listening to you because you're asking, you're whining, you're saying, please, begging, pleading, whatever you're doing. And maybe you're not seeing a difference. But maybe, well, here's a little story you may have heard. There's a story about a man in his sailboat, and he's on the sailboat and it starts sinking. And he goes, oh my God, help me, God, help me. And this little rowboat comes by and he says, hey, why don't you come on board? I'll help you. And he goes, oh, no, I can't do that. I've asked God and he's going to come save me. Besides, your boat's way too small. And then he's still going there and he's starting to go down with the ship and he's going, God, help me, help me. And another boat, it's a little bigger boat, comes along. It's like a speedboat size. And he goes, hey, got plenty of room. Come on board. And he goes, no, it's okay. God's going to save me. And then he is just about down into the water. And this big, big ship comes by, a big yacht. They said, hey, we're going to throw off over this line so you can jump on this and we'll pull you in. And he goes, no, it's okay. As he's going down for the third time, God's going to save me. And then, of course, he's up the pearly gates, as the saying goes. And he asks God, hey, how come you didn't save me? And he goes, you've got to be kidding me. I sent you 3 boats. What did you want? A cruise ship? I mean, what more did you want? I sent you three lifelines that you could have taken. I had the answers for you. You just weren't listening. You weren't paying attention. And it was right there. Don't assume it has to come in the form you think it's going to. Well, your fairy godmother may be somebody who's homeless, somebody who has just the right answer for you that you would never listen to normally. But if you don't open your heart and pay attention, you won't get that answer that you need, the thing to fix you, so to speak, which I'm putting that in parentheses, which you can't see, because we don't really need fixing. But our mindset may need adjustment if we're not quite where we want to be. If all we do is talk in circles and complain and worry, we're not necessarily going to have that help we need. So just like that man who asked God to help him and then kind of kept ignoring the help when human beings offered, sometimes when we ask for help or guidance, it just comes in a form we don't expect, like I said, and we just don't always notice. Our heart is closed. So what if you ask for guidance on a matter and instead of getting a thunderbolt out of the blue or an angel appearing, you heard something pop out of you from a commercial or on TV, or maybe your boss or someone says something offhand. It's kind of a total answer to your prayer or your wish or your desire. If you're not paying attention and you're not open, you're not going to hear it. But that could be the person who is being your fairy godmother at that time. I remember seeing a movie in a theater. I found the movie was kind of stupid as far as I was concerned, but I was with a couple of my friends and I didn't want to say anything because they were enjoying it. And I really wish I could have walked out of that movie. And I was sad because I really liked the 2 actors in it, but it just was a stupid movie for me. It didn't work. But towards the end, one line stuck out and I went, oh my God. And it felt me deep inside of me because I went, that's why I'm here. This one line just hit me over the head and it answered some of the questions I had about why I was heading in a certain direction. because it said, it doesn't matter if I'm good or not. This is my life purpose. And I went, oh, okay. That's why I'm doing this. All right, I got it. And it was from a movie that I didn't even like. If my friends hadn't been there, I would have missed it. Or if I'd closed off my mind and wandered off and done my grocery list or something, I never would have heard that answer that I wanted. So be open, because sometimes someone will even say something out of the blue and it'll answer your questions. I mean, I remember trying to decide with my friend where I was going to be moving when I was younger. My best friend and I were trying to decide between 3 states. We had gone through all 50 and we ended up with 3. And we wanted to either go to Colorado, Washington State, or Texas. And I don't know why those 3 ended up coming up, but we decided to hold off and come back a week later to try and figure it out. And we figured we let the universe decide. So when we spoke again, we had both made up our minds and we looked at each other and went, uh-oh, I hope it's the same state, because maybe it's not. Maybe you want one and I want another. So let's see what happened. And we looked at each other and a count of 3, we said Colorado. At the same time, we went, oh, cool. This is really good. And it turns out because we had asked for help, we had asked for an answer when it comes to looking for someone to fix you or for somebody to have an answer for you, you can ask for it. And we did. She went off on her way and I went off on mine. Neither one of us actually mentioned we were going to be moving. But out of the blue, somebody would mention Colorado and what a great place it is and why they loved it so much. Somebody just got back from there and they were saying how beautiful it was. Somebody else used to live there. I mean, one person out of the blue just looked at me and said, if you're thinking of moving somewhere, you should go to Colorado. And I went, what? Because I hadn't told them I was thinking of moving unless somebody else mentioned it. No social media back then, at least not much. And she looked at me and she goes, I don't know why I said that, but Colorado's really gorgeous and you should think of going there. And I went, okay. Okay, then you say so. That was 3 times for her and 3 times for me. And that was our validation because we asked the universe and said, let us know, answer us. And we got that. Another question for you. Do you know what you actually want to change? Sometimes we know, but sometimes we're not too happy with our reality. We aren't too sure what we want to change. We just don't like where we're at. And that's sometimes when we complain or we bitch or moan and say, I don't really like this, or I don't like my job. What am I going to do? But we don't know what it is. So when that happens, if you're totally open and you just ask for what's best for you to show up, the specifics you may or may not know right now. Maybe there's a section in your life you want to change. Maybe your relationship kind of isn't the best. Maybe it's either time to shift your focus with the person or shift your focus away from the person and let them go. Maybe it's time to adjust your finances, pay more attention, find a budget, save more money, or get a second job if that's something you want to do. Maybe, though, it's time to realize that you can shift your focus on your limitations and allow those things to go so you're not living in poverty mentality in either relationships or people or finances or jobs or whatever it is in that area you don't like. So sometimes if you can shift your mindset, and actually most of the time, then you'll shift your reality. And sometimes it feels like we have a fairy godmother or a genie or somebody helping us and granting us those wishes. When we shift our mindset, things just shift for the better. And maybe if we don't know which way we're headed, sometimes that happens. Now we've talked about all that, I want to actually look at what happens when we wish our fairy godmother or genie would work their magic so we could be more successful like someone else. So if you have someone like that's happened, where you look at somebody and go, God, I want that kind of marriage, or I want that kind of job because it looks like it pays well, it has all the perks I want that kind of job. Well, what is it about that person? What is it they have that makes you go, I wish it was mine. I wish I could have that or be that way. Is it the fact that they're loved? Is it the fact that they have this impressive, powerful job maybe? Is it the fact that they have multi-million dollars because they're buying different real estate and they're investing? What is it about this person that you wish you had and you want that fairy godmother to go, I'm not going to take it away from them necessarily, but you can have it too. And then how do you feel? Again, I'm asking that. What's your attitude? Do you feel jealous of them or envious? Is it this negative, lower vibrational, corrosive kind of feeling where you wish they didn't have it? And some people even wish people were dead. What is it? How do you feel? Or do you just have this heartfelt wish that what they had was also something you have? Maybe you wish that they didn't have what they have and you had it instead. But really look at that. Look at why you feel the way you feel. Because you can't be that person. Because you can't be that person, if you took something away from them, why would that work for you? If you want something similar, not the same thing, not like their spouse or something, or their job, if you wanted something similar because it would work for you and you think it would be wonderful, that's different from having that jealous and that envious feeling. So really look at deeply, if you can, what's up with that and why you feel the way you do about wanting what that person has. Remember, like I said, you can't be them. So what do? If it's your business, if it's somebody in business that you really want to be like, don't worry about it. Be brave. I mean, go ahead, ask them if they'll be your mentor or they'll give you some tips. Take them to lunch because that could be exactly what it takes for you to maybe be pulled under their wing and you can learn from them. Ask what their secret is. See how they overcame. What can you do? They could end up being your fairy godmother or father. Maybe they'll be your genie and they'll show you how that you can make those 3 wishes come true. Make sure that you do ask for help and for advice when you can, because really be the best you can be is by being you. You can't be them. So be you. Think about when you look at these people of what you want. Take it apart. If they have finances that you want, look at what they did, how they got there. And like I said, ask them questions if you can. Find out what they learned along the way. If they're in a magical, wonderful relationship with someone, in a romantic relationship, find out where they met them. Find out what it is and how they felt when they met them. So you recognize maybe when it happens to you. It's really good to find out like what they've said, what they expected, and how long it took them to know it was the person for them. There's so many different questions you can ask. And if you're just curious and from an open heart, most people will help you. They'll talk to you. They'll even take you under their wing. You're doing this for you, but you don't have to be negative or unhappy about the fact that maybe they have something that you want. You should be happy for them. And then in turn, they will be happy for you if you reach out to them once you figure out a way to make it work for you to have something maybe even better than what they have in your life. Different probably, but hopefully better for you because we ultimately do not know what's best for us. So that's why it's kind of nice to have what we consider a fairy godmother or a genie to say, here you go. This is what's best for you. I don't think that Cinderella would have thought going to the ball was necessarily the best thing for her. Maybe, but if she had to leave at midnight, why would she want to go in the first place if she was a negative person? But knowing that she had an opportunity, she grabbed it. She wanted to just find that joy. And she didn't really have any thoughts for the future beyond that. She was someone who could hold that happiness in her heart even after the case. And that's why you rooted for these Disney people, the Disney princesses. They were happy. They were lovely, warm, loving people. They weren't the people that complained and whined all the time, or who would care if they had a good and happy ending. If you want people to love you, think about that too. It's a little off subject, but think about the fact that the more caring you are, the more people will be attracted to you and love that caringness in you. And then you may not even need a fairy godmother because you will become your own fairy godmother. You will create your own responses. And we kind of do anyway. But to be fixed, someone to help us is nice. To know you can depend on someone is wonderful. But ultimately, it's about what we choose for ourselves and how we act when we have that opportunity to make a difference. So the next time you wish you had a fairy godmother to fix your problems for you, or you make your reality a better place, do pay attention and wonder why you aren't either having someone fix the problem for you or give you the answer you prayed or asked for, because maybe you're wrong. Maybe you have gotten the answer you wanted, but you just weren't paying attention or realizing that the source can be from pretty much anywhere. I'm going to give you one more story here, which I think is kind of cool. It's an example of a girl who lost her job and she needed to get another one. And she was supposed to be working on her resume that night. And her grandmother asked her to help her set up the bingo game at the church. And she went, oh, brother. I was a senior at the church. And so she went to help her, thought, well, I was going to do this for me, but okay, I can do it later. So she went because she loved her grandmother. So she went and helped her set up, and her grandmother did all the calling of those fun little ways of doing the bingo. And she was helping with some of the cards. And finally, her job was done, and she sat down and she played bingo next to this older gentleman. And they got started talking. And she really liked him. He was a really nice guy. And so he was asking her questions about what she did. And she said she just was between jobs and she was looking for one, but she needed to get her resume together. And he asked her what she did. And she told him in between the bingo games and the calling the letters. And it got to the point where at the very end, he said, here's a card. And he said, call this number in the morning. You're exactly what we've been looking for. And she said, what? What do you mean? And he goes, I'm on my way out. I'm just about retired as the CEO of this fairly large company that I don't even remember what it was called. He said, we've been looking for someone with exactly your qualifications. I'm not sure why I came tonight because I usually don't, but now I know why, because I was supposed to meet you. And here's the card. Don't lose it. And call in the morning and ask for me. She couldn't believe it because obviously she felt like he was her fairy godfather, that he showed up when she needed it. But she followed what her heart said and she listened, and she didn't have to talk to this man. She didn't have to be open and have a loving heart, but she did. And so he was there. He was someone that she talked to, and therefore she got her answers. And her problem was, in quotes, fixed, unquote, because she listened and was aware. So pray if you like, ask for guidance if you want, but pay attention, because your answer truly can come from any and every direction. That fairy godmother, it could be just your boss, could be a stranger on a train, the kid next door, or even the person you were playing bingo with. They may have the answers that you're looking for. Don't give up. Have that good attitude and stay open and aware, because that fairy godmother with the answers, maybe not the fix-its, they may not fix you, but the answers and the things they have to say may make all the difference in the world. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you love the show, make sure you rate, review, and share this podcast, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Connect with me on Facebook or by email with questions and comments, ideas for future episodes, or if you would like to be a guest, give me a shout out and I'll send you an application. Until next week, remember, you are already enough to have that joyful, limitless life that you desire.
Thank you for listening to Connect to Joy. If you love the show, make sure you rate, review, and share this podcast. And subscribe so you never miss an episode. Contact the host, Carol DeChaine, with questions and comments, ideas for future episodes, or if you would like to become a guest. And remember, transformation is a journey and not an end destination. So be kind to yourself, because you are already enough to have the joyful, limitless life that you desire.